Hi, this is Simon with Trade and Perform Coaching with today's trade review for September 9th, 2013. And it was an interesting day, actually. So, coming into this morning, there were a couple of interesting factors. And the first thing that I saw and that I went over for my clients this morning was that we've essentially been setting higher highs on a daily basis for quite a number of days and actually a series of higher lows with the exception of our big news down day with the Syria news last Friday. And sometimes part of being a trader is just simply going, okay, well, I'm going to have to make a little adjustment here for odd circumstances and look at where the beef of the trade is. So before I go any further, this is just for educational purposes. My sole purpose, my only purpose in doing this is to help other traders become successful. I'm not doing anything special here. I have not reinvented the wheel. I use a combination of skills, both personal, as in my self-management, and technical, meaning the market, to come up with levels that are tradable for me. And then I try to take some of the cues that the market gives me in between to accelerate that edge that the levels give me. The levels themselves are the edge. And then I try to keep my trading extremely simplistic. I don't consider myself an overly bright guy. I'm not dumb. I'm smart. I'm as smart as the next guy, but I'm not a genius. No one asked me to be in any government think tanks, and Goldman Sachs definitely was not lining up to hire me out of college. So let's go and take a look at what I saw this morning. And I did post, if you look at the next posting down on my blog, my homework, essentially my pre-market preparation that I send out to my coaching clients every morning. So let's take a look at that here. I'm going to pause this for a second. So when I wake up in the morning and I pull up my charts, the first thing I'm looking at is an ES and NQ chart. I want to see what they're doing overnight. Just really basic stuff, right? I'm thinking through, okay, what are buyers thinking? What are sellers thinking? So the first thing that I'm noticing is after our huge recovery here on Friday afternoon where we had this huge dip down and then this huge run up, right? First of all, no one's really come in and sold overnight, okay? There's been no responsive sellers. The next thing I'm looking at my calendar, there's not a lot on the economic data calendar. We have President Obama addressing the country tomorrow night. That's a big one. And then we have the ever-present looming threat of Syrian news. But other than that, we've got nothing. I haven't heard the word tapering coming up anywhere. That was really my only concern. And I guess we're still far enough away from the Fed meeting that that's not being brought up. Second thing I'm noticing, NQ right here is near new all-time highs. And really all we have to do to achieve that is get up over Friday's high. The next thing that I'm noticing is while we were rather flat overnight on ES, we are holding higher lows here at 56. That was earlier resistance in this area, and now we're trading above it, particularly coming right up into the open, which is why I wait so late to get out that pre-market preview. The other thing is I noticed that NQ was just banging against this level here. This is 1, 2, 3, 4 times. Okay, so I know that if we get above that, we're going to have a catalyst. The other thing, I know that whether it's news, not news, BS, not BS, I don't really care. Apple's coming out with one of their product shows tomorrow. It always gets everyone hyped. Apple's over $500. Everyone's yeehawing about it. I don't care whether it's legit or not legit, whether the stock's going higher or lower. All I know is that it is happening. So that's factoring into my thought process. I don't even have an Apple quote on my desktop. All I do is look at StockTwits and see how many people are talking about Apple in the morning. I'm like, okay, Apple's doing well. It was gapping 5 points. That's going to help NQ. What do I know about NQ? A lot of mornings these past 3 or 4 weeks, NQ has led ES to higher highs. Okay, so I'm now going to look at NQ and at least take a look at it and see what it's doing. Okay, and I know that it needs to clear up above this area or reject out of this area as it's been doing all night, and it's going to get new highs. Same thing with ES. I know that ES needs to get up above Friday's highs, which I discussed in my pre-market review, in order to make any headway up into that 70 level, which is where I had initial resistance for the day. So the other thing that I know with regards to Friday afternoon was that we closed somewhere down in the 1654 area. If you can see that, I'll color it just so it's easy. And we closed right down here. I'll make that same color. We closed right in this area in NQ. And so the next thing I'm noticing is, hey, we're not anywhere close to gap fill. As a matter of fact, we tagged it right off the open in both of those in the Asian session on Sunday evening, and we really haven't been back since. That's another sign of, well, there's really not a lot of scared hands at this point, right? The overnight market is telling me something. There's not a lot of scared hands. So the first thing I say today is I'm not looking at shorts. So what's the next thing that I'm going to come in and look for here? I'm going to come in and look at what the overnight supply looks like. The daily supply looks like. And so when I'm looking at that, the first thing that catches my eye, and again, I highlighted this in my pre-market film, is that we have an up channel going on, guys. And if we can get up above this little lip right here in the 1667 area, if we can get above it, we actually don't have a whole lot stopping us to 1682. There is some resistance in the 75 to 77 area, but it's not big. We gap down through it in the RTH. In the overnight, we kind of paused there. We gap down to 77 on the breakdown, if you recall. I do without even looking at it because I traded it. We gapped down to 77, traded back to 82 in the overnight, and it was good night from there, particularly on the US RTH Open. And it was a fantastic trade. So now I'm thinking in my mind, okay, so every day now for 5 days in a row. For 5 days in a row, but prior to coming in here, 4 days in a row, we've been hitting a higher high daily. So if I'm going to short, if I want to short, right, I want to at least make sure I'm shorting from a higher high for a pushback in if we're going to get that, right? The other thing that I notice is that we have a pretty healthy chunk of volume going off right here. I know that in order to get the shorts going, we're going to have to get below. We're either going to have to get above 1660 to keep the bulls going, right? And we're going to have to stay below it to get the sellers going. So when I see us open and we bang up against that range coming into it, and I know we're opening right in that 1660 level, I'm going to be cautious on the shorts. Why? This is my thinking. Okay, I've got NQ banging out near highs on the open. We're nowhere near gap fill, right? So I want to watch the open. I want to see what kind of strength the open has, and I don't want to short into it. Why? Because we've had a tendency in our markets over the last couple of weeks to go directional off of the open in the direction of the open. If it's gap down, they've tended to go straight down. If they gap up, we haven't had a whole lot of play off the open. So I want to take a pause there. I don't need to rush in. All I need is 1 or 2 good trades is my thinking, right? One actually pays my bills. So now we know we have a tendency to go higher. The only thing that's really brought us down here and kind of disrupted this pattern right here was the news, the Syrian news with President Putin coming out on Friday. So let's roll over, and again, if we take a closer look here, we'll see that out of the gate, literally, right, we had a little downside, but the gap fill is all the way down here on ES, right, and the gap fill is all the way down here on NQ, and NQ opened and it was a rocket ship pretty much out of the gate, okay, which meant when it came back in, instead of getting gap fill, we now had all this overnight defending this area, if you would, right? Picture people, buyers and sellers, right? What are they going to do? If they bought there, right? They bought there, they're going to defend it the first time it comes down, just like you or I would defend our positions, right? We put an emotional investment, we put an actual cash investment. There are going to be defenders there. We're going to have to get it below this area, these areas, right? If we're going to make a run for gap fill. And it made no indication that we were going to do that. It got dramatically slow. So what is my trade plan? Now I'm thinking about trade plan. Trade plan is I want to take a trade first time into a zone is my highest odds of making money, preferably because I like to take smaller stops. I'd rather take it middle to back. Am I aggressive sometimes? Yeah. Sometimes I'll take it in the front of the zone, and I could be wrong, but I'm willing to pay the extra $50 on the loss per contract. That's what it is. It's $50 extra. It's $200 versus $150. All right. And as a trader, you have to decide a couple of things when you take a trade, right? The first question you have to ask for a trade is, number one, what does the trade require to work? First question, very important. You should figure that out before you ever enter a trade, not after you enter the trade. Number two, can I afford the trade, right? If you can only afford to lose 1.5 points, okay, and the trade requires a 3-point stop, don't take the trade. Pure and simple. All you're going to do is burn the money. Hell, you're just going to burn it. Go and buy something with it. Go buy your wife some flowers. Why? Give it to me. But why are you going to burn it? You can't afford the trade. Don't take it. It's a very simple answer. This is a very simple business, okay? This is risk reward. We don't know what's going to happen next. We're all guessing. Some of us simply are guessing with better information than others. And the information isn't just whether the market's going up or down. The information is how much does the trade cost? The information is what can I afford? The information is how prepared am I for this day? Have I gone and done my homework? Have I done my meditation so I've kept my mind nice and calm? Am I focused on my outcome? Am I trying to be the best, most badass trader on Twitter? I'm not. First of all, there's guys lying on Twitter. We all know it. They're not ever taking losses, okay? It's a bunch of bullshit for the most part. We all know that most traders lose money, number one. Secondly, if everyone on Twitter is making money, how the hell is that true? Something's wrong, and you can either believe what you read on the internet or you can believe what the stats are coming out of the brokerage firms. And the brokerage firms, if everyone was making money, we would never have these disclaimers about future trading being dangerous. You can lose your entire account. You can blow yourself up. All that would be BS. We would never need the warning because everyone would be making money. All you have to do is log into Twitter and follow someone, preferably someone with no losses. So anyways, we've done our homework. We know that we are trending up. We're making higher highs on a daily basis. The only exception has been when news is coming out. Apple is gapping. NQ is pounding right up against the high overnight and has not made any indication. As a matter of fact, it's trending up on NQ. We're actually trending up overnight. Just draw yourself a line underneath there. There's the trend, right? And if we break, there's going to be buyers right here. And what you need is you're going to have to get them underneath 3140 to get a breakdown. And ES, you're going to need them to get them below 1656 to make a run for this 1654. Okay, so they're going to defend this area, and there's probably going to be buyers first time back in, which, by the way, there weren't. So that's how I set up the day. That's how I'm thinking. So let's go into this fast forward because I am running out of time and it is getting late and I'm tired. So very simple. First move into the zone. I took front of the zone. I tweeted it. Most of my clients took middle of the zone. A few tried for the very back, didn't get filled. It's unfortunate. Middle of the zone to back of the zone paid you anywhere from, we returned all the way to 1660.50, so you had a potential of 3 to 4 points. I take my profits at 2 points. I have a reason for that. I know it's high odds of getting filled. I left a small trailer. I got stop break even on that trade. I let it kind of bounce all the way through here because I don't know if it'll ever work out, and I'm comfortable with that. Okay, came in second time into the zone, lower odds succeeding, trend day up. By the way, on top of the no attempt at gap fill, tick was positive all day long, and rotations were very tiny. 3-point rotations, folks, is nothing in the first hour of the day. If that's what we're getting, you know there's not a lot of sellers present there. Why are you going to hunt for them? So next thing we know, boom, we've got breaking out. We are basing against Friday's high and holding. Okay, well, guess what? This is building energy right here for an explosion up. We get into initial resistance, and as I noted earlier, initial resistance, I expect responsive sellers at initial resistance. If you look at all my charts, you'll see that it often happens at initial resistance. I did not take the short there. Why? Again, no rotations lower, no evidence of sellers, nothing. There was just no range at the end of the day, and I figured the only trade I took, and I tweeted it out, was I thought, I believe I took 1670 or 1669, I forget at this point. I tweeted it out. Actually, now that I think about it, I think it was 1670, and I figured we could get a quick little short squeeze back up either into the highs or a push into the middle of this range with late guys. It didn't happen. I took the trade out break even. I was up about 1.25 points at one point, and that was the end of my day. So that's how my day broke out. I was up 2 points on the day. And that's how it broke down. So I hope everyone had a great day. My name is Simon. Have a